You've been starting over every Monday for years. Listen, you're not lazy, you're not broken. You've just never been taught the actual skill that it takes for taking care of your body. And if you are in perimenopause or menopause, the approach that worked for you in your 30s, it's not just less effective. For some of you, it's actively working against you. What you're about to watch is a clip from one of my live group coaching calls where I break down exactly why women over 40 keep getting stuck in this reset cycle and what to do instead. I'm Coach Erica. I work with women 40 and over who are done with the diets that weren't designed for their hormones, their bodies, or their real lives. Let's get into it. I'm really appreciating how you guys are just talking about how you're stacking your wins because tonight's topic connects perfectly to what sustainable change actually looks like. Most of you guys, you've been in this cycle of every single Monday for the past year, or maybe for the past decades of starting over. I often have clients come to me who have done everything. You've done keto, you've done IF, intermittent fasting, you've done 95 hard, you've done detox, you have done challenges. And these clients, like yourself, you've lost weight, but then you gain it back again. And then you come to me and you say, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stay consistent? And this is the thing that I'm always saying, girl, it's not you. It's nothing wrong with you. The problem, and this is why I got back into this business, is that we are not being taught how to take care of our bodies. You're told what to do. And then when you're not doing it perfectly, suddenly it's oh, well, you're lacking discipline. That is going to end today because what we are talking about really isn't just about fat loss. Once you understand the difference between fat loss and skill building, everything changes. I want you to look at something for a second. I've worked with hundreds of women and I see the same cycle over and over again. It goes like this. Maybe it's Monday, maybe it's just a week out of your month, but you decide, okay, I'm getting serious about this, right? You get into this restriction, or I'm being completely good with all of my macros, all of my exercises. Then let's just say if we're working through the week, then by Wednesday or Thursday, we're here and cravings are coming in because your body isn't actually getting what it needs. We get into this sort of like restriction area. Then maybe you overeat, maybe you binge on something, and then here comes that feeling of guilt. And then you're telling yourself that you're the problem. At this point, you're going through your weekend thinking, okay, now I have to white knuckle through it. And we start this whole cycle again. For some women, it's a Monday to Sunday cycle. For some women, it's actually sort of like this monthly cycle of how you're doing restriction, being good, and then starting to have your cravings, and then feeling like you've lost it. Does any of this sound familiar to you, ladies? Drop a yes in the chat if you've lived in this sort of cycle of dieting, restriction, cravings, overeating, and then the guilt and shame. Drop a yes in the chat. I see yeses. Yep. Yeah. Here's what I want you to understand about this cycle. It's not a will problem, a willpower problem. It's not really even a discipline problem. I call it a skills problem. When we're on a diet, it says what? Let's be perfect immediately. Coaching says, let's build skills one step at a time. This is why this matters so much for women in perimenopause and menopause. You've heard it before. Your body is less tolerant to stress now. I had a client, let's call her Maria. She came to me full on menopause. She's eating somewhere between 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day. She's doing cardio 6 days a week. She's sleeping terribly, and her body is actually holding on to every single pound. Of course, this is because her body is in survival mode. We've heard it. Estrogen drops, your body becomes way more sensitive to everything: stress, under eating, over exercising, poor sleep. And at this point, we can't bully our body into feeling safer. A lot of us, including myself at some point, spent years just trying to go into this dieting and over exercising thing. What worked when we were in our 20s and 30s, we've realized it's not working for us now. We have to change the strategy and learn the essential skills that we need right now. I'm going to come back to my charts and show you here. All right, here's the thing. People in the fitness world, I don't think they say this enough out loud. You don't just wake up one day and just know, oh, well, I know how to consistently nourish my body. I see this as truly a learned skill. Look at this chart. We've got meal planning, we have meal prep, we have hydration routines, we have regular meals, we have modifying your food environment here, recording how you eat. You know, every single one of these is a skill, okay? It's not a personality trait. It's not discipline or lack of it. Each of these circles are skills that we have to take time to build up in your process. And this is what I want all of you to walk away with today, is recognizing we're not just here for losing fat. And I know you're going to say, Erica, you're crazy. What am I here for then? I mean, we are here to build the habits and skills that actually help you take care of your body for the rest of your life. This is why comparison becomes so dangerous in this space, because sometimes you look at somebody else in the program and you're thinking, oh, she's hitting her protein, she's meal prepping every week, she's strength training 4 days out of the week, she's sleeping good maybe. And now you're starting to think, well, what's wrong with me? Now, what you're not seeing though is that maybe she's been building those skills for 2 or 3 years. I have clients who come to me who already know how to strength train. They already might understand portions, or they might be already walking consistently. And I have clients who come to me straight out of survival mode. They're burnt out. They've got a lot of emotional eating. They might have 20 years of on and off dieting with zero structure. As you see, they're not starting from the same place. They can't really be compared. The best thing you can do is start where you are at, and you have to build from there. Drop a little note in the chat. What's one health skill you already feel solid in, even if it feels small? Drop it in the chat right now. Working out and walking, yes. Meal building, your fitness routine, movement, getting in enough fiber, activity. As you see, each of you ladies have a different skill set that you're already feeling solid in. But you see all these bubbles? These are all bubbles and skills that we have to work on, various things that will ultimately get us to where we want to be. I'm going to go to mindful eating. As you see, there's different little categories here of where we can skill build, whether it's nutrition, whether it's movement. Here we've got the mindful eating. This is where most women will end up tripping ourselves up. You come into the program and you want to fix everything at the same time: protein, the macros, the sleep, the stress, the workouts, the hydration, the hormones, all of it by Monday when you start. And then Wednesday hits and you are already feeling like you're failing miserably. And I see it every single time. The real change doesn't work like that. What I want you to see it as is real change is layered. It's gradual. It's built one little skill at a time. If we're looking at this chart here, we're using this mindful eating as the example. You don't just wake up one day eating mindfully. At level 1, you just start off noticing your hunger cues. That's it, just noticing. Level 2, you start slowing down, maybe limiting distractions at meals. Level 3, you start paying attention to how food is actually making you feel. Energy, sleep, mood. Level 4, maybe now you're eating more regularly throughout the day. So you're not arriving to your meals completely starving. Then level 5, and this is the advanced one, You can do all of this stuff during a stressful week, during travel, during a, let's call it a hormonal stretch when everything is feeling hard. That is skill building. It's not a 30-day challenge. It's not perfection. It's just progressive. It's layered and it's in real time. Be honest with me. How many of you girls tend to go into the full new life overhaul mode every week? That you're trying to overhaul everything and start doing everything all over again. Yeah, who has that mentality of let me do all the things as of Monday again? Yeah, often. And then I see here, I like this comment here, often, and some slips on the weekends. Well, why is this happening? We've been taught to do this. I want to give you permission right now to stop doing that. Stop, please. Especially in this journey, we have to remember one skill, one layer. That is where the real change is actually going to start happening for you. Here's another thing I think doesn't get said enough in this space. The tools that work for your body in one season of life are not going to always be the same tools that you need in another season. And I'm not talking about here what you did in your 20s versus what you're doing now. I'm talking about just what goes on throughout the year, okay? Because we have seasons to what's going on in our lives. And when we're having these changes, it's not failure. It's just life. Let's call it lifing on us. Look at this one right here. I like this one. And you're probably going to say, what does that mean? Create and maintain bare minimums. This is where in some seasons of your life, a bare minimum is going to be your win. What does that mean? Getting to the gym twice instead of maybe 3 times. Or maybe it's once instead of 3 times. Maybe it's a 20-minute walk instead of your hour workout. That still counts. And that's still work. Our health is not about locking in a perfect routine and never changing it. To me, I think it's so important to realize that our health is about learning how to adapt, how to adjust, how to show up for your body differently depending on what's going on in your life at that moment. If we're looking at the chart here and we start going through even stress, I have a client right now who is in the middle of a really hard season. Family stress, sleep is terrible. Her nervous system is, let's just call it fried. And we're honestly not talking about fat loss right now. We're talking about keeping her body out of survival mode. We're talking about her breathing, getting outside, doing a mind-body scan, actively de-stressing before she even thinks about food or workouts. Is that optimal for body recomposition and fat loss? No. But is it right for her body right now? Absolutely yes. So some seasons, I want you to remember, some seasons you're building, some seasons you're maintaining. Some seasons you're just trying not to drown and you're doing the bare minimum, still showing up. This is why this process requires continuous observing and evolving. Your life is often changing. Our hormones, they are sure enough changing constantly right now. So that means that our approach has to stay truly dynamic. I'm going to go into now the next one here of growth mindset. I want to leave you with this today. Focus on effort over the results. That is where the whole game begins. Instead of asking yourself, why can't I do all of these things perfectly yet? Start asking yourself, what skill am I building right now? That's the big shift. You have to remember that you're not broken. You're not some type of lost cause. What you girls are doing right now, you're building. And building takes time, and that's completely okay. The one job I want for you this week. Pick one. Pick one skill from your toolbox and practice it. Not 10 things, not a full reset. Focus in on one skill. Maybe that's protein at breakfast every day this week. Maybe just slowing down and actually tasting your food, or drinking water before you go for the coffee, or even better, getting to bed 30 minutes earlier. going for a walk 3 times. Or I like this one, watching for your emotional eating triggers without judgment. That's a skill in itself, mindfulness. Just one skill, one layer. Stack enough of these. Think about it. If we start stacking enough of these things week after week, I promise you, your body starts to reflect all of that work. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Fat loss and body recomposition after 40 is not about doing more. It's about building the right skills in the right order, where your body is right now. If this is the kind of coaching conversation you've been missing, and if you're tired of the one size fits all advice that honestly was not built for women like us, this is what I do. I work with women 40 and over who are ready to stop restarting and actually start feeling stronger and confident in their bodies again. Book a discovery call. You can find the link in the description box. And if you found something valuable out of today's conversation, share it. Keep moving, keep glowing, and remember, you are sexy, strong, and unstoppable.